Hi, and welcome to the Mortgage Expert. Today we're going to speak about the new QM rules. Okay, so what is a QM? A QM is a qualified mortgage. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, otherwise known as the CFPB, initiated this on January 10, 2013. Subsequently, these rules took effect on Friday, January 10, 2014. So what is a qualified mortgage? A qualified mortgage is a home loan that meets certain criteria set forth by the federal government. These rules are designed to create safer loans by prohibiting or limiting certain high-risk products and features. Lenders that make QM loans will receive some degree of legal protection against borrower lawsuits, either in the form of a safe harbor or rebuttal presumption program, is what they're calling it. Full definition of a qualified mortgage. This term qualified mortgage was first used within the text of the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Act after all of the garbage that went on a few years ago. This act, which became a federal law in 2010 in July, provided a general definition to say that the QM loan, the qualified mortgage loan, was then defined. And the key features of this qualified mortgage loan, as outlined by the CFPB, it has no excessive points, no upfront fees, so on and so forth. In this context, points and fees are additional costs charged by the lender during the mortgage application. It includes processing, closing. This QM puts a limit on these additional charges, including those used to compensate mortgage brokers and loan officers. So generally speaking, all the points and fees paid by the borrower must not exceed 3% of the total loan amount. If the loan is to be considered a qualified mortgage, that is. There are other programs where qualified mortgages don't come into play. But certain exceptions have been made for bona fide discount points, which are used to lower the interest rate on a loan. Also, no loan toxic features. A toxic loan can refer to any high-risk feature that may have contributed to the mortgage and housing collapse of 2008. Such features are prohibited by the qualified mortgage rules as defined by the CFPB. So here we go. No interest-only loans. These products deferred the repayment of principal and paid only the interest for a certain period of time. Now we have no negative amortization loans. These are loans where the principal amount borrowed increased over time. So even while monthly payments are being made, it's still going negative as far as your principal goes. Now, no terms beyond 30 years. In order to meet the definition of a qualified mortgage, the loan must have a repayment term of 30 years or less. So there's no more 40-year mortgages. Also, no balloon loans. A balloon loan is a mortgage that has a larger than normal payment at the end of the repayment term. On top of all of this, they're going to limit debt-to-income ratios. In general, the qualified mortgage will be granted to borrowers with debt-to-income ratios, or DTI, no higher than 43%. So as the name implies, the debt-to-income ratio compares the amount of money a person earns each month to the amount he or she spends on recurring debt obligations. Now, this aspect of the QM rule is intended to prevent consumers from taking on more than they can handle, basically, and loans that they cannot realistically afford. And now, how are the banks protected? They have these legal protections like the Safe Harbor and Rebuttal Presumption Act that generate QM-compliant mortgage loans. So these banks will now receive some degree of legal protection against borrower lawsuits. The level of protection they receive will depend on the type of loan they make. So in essence, there's two types of protection. One of them is the safe harbor. Of the two types of QM loans, this one gives lenders the highest level of legal protection. So these are low-priced loans with interest rates closer to the prime rate, and they're typically granted to consumers with good credit or above credit, and as far as that equals less risk. If the borrower ends up in default or foreclosure down the road, the lender will be considered to have legally satisfied the ability to repay. So this rule would be harder for the borrower to sue, obviously, in any type of a court. However, borrowers could still challenge their lenders in court if they feel the loan fails short of the QM parameters. The next one is the rebuttal presumption. This is a little weaker of the two. These are higher priced loans that are typically granted to borrowers with lower credit scores. In this context, higher priced refers to a loan with an interest rate that is more than 1.5% higher than the current prime rate. Lenders who grant these types of mortgages will receive a type of legal protection simply known as the rebuttal presumption, which offers less protection than the Safe Harbor Act. So if the borrower ends up in a foreclosure, situation, he or she still can sue and win an ability to repay lawsuit if they can prove the creditor did not consider their living expenses after their mortgage and other debts. So this is the basic definition of a qualified mortgage, and as quick as I can do it. And it's all defined by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. For more information, give me a call, 718-869-4795, and feel free to contact me by email or watch this video a couple of times just so you get it down packed. I know I went pretty quick. Have a great day, and thanks for watching The Mortgage Expert.